Welcome back to the second video in our Virtuoso tutorial series. In the previous lesson, we learned how to set up Virtuoso in a Unity project. In this lesson, we're going to be setting up our first interactable object. So let's get started in Unity. In this tutorial series, we'll be creating a space station repair simulator using a few simple objects and interactions. We're going to be starting off using the Unity project that we created in the last lesson. In this lesson, we're going to be creating our first interactable object, which we'll be able to pick up and move around with the controllers. So the interactable object that we're going to be making today is an air filter that the astronaut will have to change in our space station simulator. So we're going to grab this CO2 filter prefab and drag it into the scene view. Now to start making this an interactable object, we're going to need to add a collider to it. So let's start by adding a box collider. Next, we're going to want to edit the collider so that it's the same size as our 3D model. So in this mode, it's a little hard to tell how big the collider is. So one trick that's built into Unity that you can use is the physics debugger. So if you go to Window, Analysis, Physics Debugger, then you can just dock that window in the corner. If you check this collision geometry box, you'll be able to see the outside of the box collider actually rendered, so it becomes a lot easier to resize it appropriately. So now you're just going to want to take this box and resize it to fit this model. So once you've added the collider, you're going to want to add a rigid body. Since we're in space, uncheck the Use Gravity box and check Is Kinematic. The last step to make this interactable is to add the VRTK interactable object script to this object. So you can do that by clicking Add Component and typing in VRTK interactable object. For now, the only interaction we're going to have with this interactable object is the ability to pick it up and move it around. So the way that you can enable that is by going down to Grab Settings and checking Is Grabbable. So now our interactable object is complete. You should be able to press play and pick up the object with the controller and move it around. So now we're in VR and you should be able to just reach out and use the grip button on your controller to grab the object. You should be able to move it around. So a couple things to keep in mind here. You may have to move the object around a little bit in the editor to get it closer to somewhere that's comfortable for you to grab. If you reach out to grab the object and it doesn't seem like you can, it might be that the collider is too small. So you want to check to make sure that the collider is the right size. Now that we've learned the basics of creating interactable objects, we're ready to learn about interaction areas, which will be the topic of the next video.